So we just watched... Pardon me, I'm having an interview right now. So we just watched 50 Shades of Grey. How did you feel about the movie? Interesting. Did you like the choice of actress and actor that they chose for the roles? Riveting.
Discussions every week with insights far and wide. We'll learn along as we break it all down. Marissa, Lodi, Joseph, and Ryan, the best hosts in town.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Podcast The Sequel, where we discuss the good, the bad, and the continued. I'm Marissa.
I'm Ryan.
And you may notice that it's only the two of us today. Due to it being the month of February, we are trying something a little bit different, and we are going for kind of a couples review. So we'll be doing our review today, and then you'll be seeing Joseph and Manira in a little bit, and they will be doing their couple review. So we are going to start off the month of February, Valentine's Day month, with a great series. I know I was really looking forward to having Ryan do this one. We are covering the 50 Shades series. So for those of you very involved in this, I'm hoping you'll love it just as much as we did. This one for me, I'm glad we got to cover together, because I know the whole reason I even watched this series is because a friend of mine a couple years back, when these movies came out, she couldn't be with her boyfriend on Valentine's Day. And so I know you and I had just started hanging out. So I was like, oh, I'll come over and I'll watch this movie with you or whatever. And we'll just hang out, have like a girl Valentine's Day kind of thing. And then I think you ended up showing up anyway, because she's like, oh no, I feel bad and whatever have you. So anyway, this became kind of like a tradition for us on like Valentine's Day. And these movies came out somewhere in February for Valentine's Day. So I feel like this one's kind of a little bit personal. Like, it's not a favorite, but it's definitely more personal.
We saw it.
And that's the review.
Thanks, everybody. Have
a great day.
Thanks for
I don't know. I know this series is based off a book series.
Off a book series.
As well.
E.L. James.
E.L. James. I honestly am blanking on her actual name, because it's just her. E.L. James is her pen name. But she's written, like, I think 3 series.
Yeah, there was a couple other ones I was looking
I want to
at.
say it's mostly
wonder if they're fan fiction too.
Oh no, it's 3. No, what I remember now, it's 3 series. It's this series 50 Shades, and then she did 50 Shades, but it's from Christian's point of view. Like, because the whole book series, the first original book series, is from Anna's point of view, and then she did a trilogy, but it's from the reverse, from his point of view. And then she did another series, and it was like the Mr. and Mrs. series. Yeah. Which I don't know anything about, but allegedly it was supposed to have a movie deal back, and they announced it in February of 2020. But as we all know, something happened that year, so we did not get that series.
It's probably for the best.
Maybe. I don't know anything about that series, but I would assume, based on like the little blurb, I think that I like just happened to catch, it's a very similar like man who's very well off financially wise.
We'll get into all of this nonsense.
It's one of those. So, but I know you have some slight history on this, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, 50 Shades of Grey, 2015. I'll be doing Joseph's portion of this, the numbers, because he's the numbers guy. Budget was $40 million, and it made $569 million plus. So 570.
That's some money.
That's some money for
Good for them.
And it has a cinema score of a C plus.
Hey, that's passing.
Barely.
C plus. That's passing.
Yeah,
if I got a C plus on a test I was not prepared for, that's a good day.
Yeah, but you were saying about the history.
Yes.
Of this movie. I'm sure everyone at this point already has heard this. Not necessarily conspiracy theory. It's an accurate timeline.
It's a series, series of events, I guess.
Yeah, and it all starts with a little date and time called 9/11. Gerard Way sees 9/11 happening as he's on his way to work, and decides to start a band, and the name of that band is My Chemical Romance. Okay. And then, what's her name? Stephanie Meyer sees My Chemical Romance as a band and decides to write a book based on goofy goth characters that look like him, and that is the Twilight saga. And then E.L.
Okay.
James decides to write fan fiction about the Twilight Saga, and that is what becomes 50 Shades of Grey.
And I know that there's more to it because it branches off more, but we're
Yes.
specific. We're going to stop it there.
We're going to
just for
stop
the
there
sake of,
because
just for the sake of
who
it.
cares about Ellen DeGeneres?
I mean, not a lot of people anymore. I'm trying to piece the puzzle together of like yes, Gerard Way, okay, like depending on what age he was when he saw 9/11, like that could scar you enough. I mean, it scarred a lot of people. Like we're still, obviously it's a huge
Yeah, apparently he was
event.
an intern at Cartoon Network at the time. So he was an adult. Enough of an
How
adult.
old is he? Why did I think he was like our age?
He's just been really I mean, he might be, but he's been into like comics and things and artistry.
Well, I know
and-
he did the Umbrella Academy.
Mhm,
Okay,
that's, like,
I was
his
like,
thing.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
which that like seems more up his alley, and like My Chemical Romance is fine too, I guess. Like,
I mean, you got to start somewhere. Like your boy Seth MacFarlane started at Hanna-Barbera.
and he was also affected by 9/11.
Damn.
But I'm just trying to piece together how like Stephanie Meyer was like, oh, I'm listening to My Chemical Romance, or as
was
the
more
kids
of like
called
a-
it, MCR. How she got Vampire Romance. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
The I'm Not Okay music video alone.
Was that really like I feel like I just remember that music video being like a bunch of like block titles of just like it's them singing the song, and then it cuts to like black screen, and it's like just like things of like when you're feeling alone or like
Yeah,
whatever
but
it
it's
said.
more his look. The look that he was portraying in that and throughout his career.
Oh,
where
I guess
he has,
I'm
like,
just
he
seeing
looks like every guy that works at or worked at
Hot Topic,
at
back
the
when it
time.
was
Yeah.
like
In the
actually
heyday.
Hot Topic, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just like a commercial showboat now. No, I think I just for some reason I can't get the image of. I know Gerard Way looked a little bit different before, but I just have the image of like platinum blonde hair and Black Parade. For some reason, that's just like the
Yeah,
only
that's-
image that's
I guess that's
stained
the one
in
that
my
stuck
memory.
with you, but for me it was always black hair, like red eyeshadow.
tie, yeah, and then didn't he have
yeah.
like a red tie or something?
For that
because
music
I'm also
video,
thinking
yeah.
it was it Helena.
So he cut his hair, or they styled it a certain way to make it look like shorter, but it was still black.
I feel like I don't know enough about My Chemical Romance now.
Oh no, that's a different. I'm thinking of a completely different. That's whatever goes to the whatever where he plays
Goes
like a World War II guy. We're getting way off topic.
I know we're way off topic.
But yeah,
this is
Helena,
what
yeah,
it does.
It was pretty much the same look.
Okay.
Longer black hair.
I think, yeah, to me, I'm just like, I mean, obviously we're not talking about Twilight. We'll eventually get there. But I just can't, I'm piecing together how that, like, because I could totally get how E.L. James got, like, the fan fiction where she's just like, oh, I like this, but I wanted a little more, like, adult. And I'm like, okay, like, I could go for that because then you have, like, that was around the time that you had, what is it, like, is it True Blood? The vampire show with like Sookie and
I thought
all
that
that
came after.
Was it True Blood? Well, yeah, no,
yeah,
but that,
True
but
Blood.
but it was around like that kind of like era of
Yeah, it was
like
like
we
a
have these
vampire
like
heyday.
mythical monster romance,
Mm-hmm.
alternate universe. Yeah, and then you had like Vampire Diaries and yada yada yada, right? So I see how that pieces together. I'm just wondering how like if I went to go see like Coldplay, would that have lead me to like a robot takeover in this? Yeah, I don't know, like. I'm writing something for you guys, so you can make of it what you will.
She
but
just saw like what if there was a young vampire? Because he was a younger gentleman.
and then we find out later that
He was actually 47 years old when he.
no, I was thinking more like Gerard Way is actually a vampire, and we find out later.
He might be.
Yeah,
He might be. We'll
I just
see.
like that vampires. Like I feel like vampires are always like very prominent in society because like we just saw Nosferatu like not that long ago. Like I just feel like vampires are just perpetually in media. We just can't get enough of them. So if a vampire had a sexual preference, this is what it is. This is what I'm getting.
What do you mean?
Well, like basically E.L. James is like, oh, Twilight, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, well, what if I want, that's what I'm imagining in her brain is just like, oh, I want this, but I want something more adult, more erotic, like more like, and that's how we
I want
got
these characters to
yeah.
do these things.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's how I
I'm gonna
got
write it.
this.
Yeah.
Now that we've kind of heard a little bit of a backstory of how we kind of got to the 50 Shades trilogy, we are going to be talking about the first movie and then we'll get into the sequel. So,
As we do here.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when we were watching this together, I don't know how much you remember of the movie before.
I remembered absolutely nothing.
Okay. You just had like the basis of your brain of like that's the couple, they're doing sexual things,
Yeah,
right?
he's into
kinky stuff,
which in my opinion, this movie is very tame. I don't know if
Well,
it's because I've seen some shit in my day.
I feel like it had to be because at a certain point, right? Like
It's a movie.
it's going to be like, what is it?
Yeah.
And like,
It'll be NC-17.
yeah, NC-17.
Or
Yeah, I was
X.
like, for some reason I was like NCR, and then I was like, no, my brain is like My Chemical Romancing right now.
Are you okay?
I think that's the review of this movie, is the fact that we are not okay.
Thank you.
And then just cut to that song. But anyway, I mean, I remember the first movie, and I remember like bits and parts of like the second and then the final piece. But I mean, overall, like, I don't think I've ever looked at it from like a critical view. And like, I know you haven't read the books. I started reading the books.
How could you tell?
It seems like something that's not up your alley.
It is not.
I feel like I was in college when this book series came out, or at least
the
was
book
big.
series.
Yeah, or at least when it was big. Well, because the first movie came out 2015, so I was 25. Yeah, 25 or 24, 25. And I remember the first time I ran into this book, I was working at I was working at Fashion Island, and I was serving, and this lady had this book, and I just remember the distinct like tie on the book, and I think I ended up looking it up later because I was just like this, and then somebody was like, oh, did you see that she has that book? And then I was like, I know nothing. And they told me, they're like, yeah, it's like, oh, this guy who's like a sexual, like he's all into BDSM and he's a sadist, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, is that a thing? And then they're like, yeah, it's based off Twilight. And I've actually read the Twilight book series in high school. So I was like, okay, like, I wonder how this is. And if any of our viewers have actually read either book series, I am not an avid reader, but it reads like a high schooler wrote it.
That sounds about right. Yeah. I had heard that a lot, that it's not written very well.
It's okay. It's not written well. Like, it's obviously not like Shakespeare kind of a thing. What was it? Where was the thing?
Oh, it was written like shit.
Oh, okay. It's not Shakespeare, right? It's not like a masterpiece that's going to stand maybe the test of time, but it's definitely like written like, I mean, like it read for someone like me in high school that I'm like, I can read this. This is easy to read. Okay. And then it also, like, if you're a teenage girl, it dives into like, I guess, teenage girl fantasy. So like if you're a teenage girl and you want monsters and
I don't know,
though. An adventure, I guess.
In my head, I was like, it's for someone, and I don't think it was for their intended audience. Because I don't think it's for like 18 to 30 somethings. I feel like it's for middle-aged women. They're like, oh, Gertrude, can you believe this?
Or they're like, me and my husband sleep in separate twin beds with our nightcaps on.
Yeah. Oh, good heavens.
I mean, I guess like I didn't dive into enough of like who it's for per se, or who they were like. I mean, obviously, I hope it's not for teenagers. Like,
it could be. Who cares?
Because I mean, I don't know. Like, depending on where you stand on like teenage sexual activity, if you're a parent, if you're not a parent, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I didn't really look at too much into I read like a little bit of it because I think a friend of mine had some of the series, and I was just like, I'll give this a shot. Like, I read Twilight, and I think I got like halfway through it. And it's definitely more explicit in the book. Like, obviously, like you can only do so much on screen without getting a certain rating. And they're all 3 rated R from what I remember.
Yes.
I know 2 of them are definitely.
I believe so.
And then I definitely remember like there was like this whole scene with like a tub that was like her first experience kind of thing. I remember like getting that far, and I was like, oh, this is like not. I wouldn't call it steamy. I would call it like humid, maybe. I don't know. Like
it's tepid.
Like, and I'm kind of the same way. I've just like maybe I've just seen stuff and like
I've seen some things in my day.
I don't know. Like, and we're not
on this platform.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like I mean. I don't know. And then I think I've expressed like on a past episode, like I worked at like a sex store during a summer. So like I obviously know a lot of the, I guess, equipment if you will, like that he's using. Not personally, or maybe no. But no, like, I mean, it's not something that's very, like, I don't know, like, I feel like this goes into like a whole nother like side conversation that we could have about like people are very taboo, like sex is very taboo. Like this is just another like extreme state of sex, like that people don't want to talk about. And I feel like this kind of opened that door up a little bit more publicly.
Yeah, I mean, it shines light on things that maybe
People
someone
don't know about.
doesn't know about or whatever. But there's avenues that you can go down. There's clubs that take place that you can go to these places and experience these things. I know
Upside
that
down pineapples. And,
and America was founded because we thought England was too not prudish enough, so we had to come to America and start our own pruder religion. So
Yes.
there's that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. And then I feel like that kind of dives in a little bit more to like the characters as well, because I mean, I don't know. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But
Well, do you want to dive into this?
yeah,
this
let's
bad boy.
let's.
And that's enough intro for this.
Yeah, that's a big
masterpiece.
intro. I'm so sorry. We took kind of like a big side turn for that. This movie was directed by Sam Taylor Johnson,
Yes.
who is married to one of my favorite boys, men.
Your boy,
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh, such a good looking man. She's not terrible either. She
No,
really
she's
isn't.
great.
She's just
She's a
older. I
lady.
think that's the thing. It's just she's older.
She's not even really that old. Like
I feel like they have like a few, like at least a decade, if not more, between them.
it might be.
Yeah.
It might be.
I'm just making sure they're being good. I think the thing that surprised me about having her direct this is if you look at her, like all of her movies, they're usually what Sam Taylor Johnson usually directs are kind of like biblical or not biblical, biographical pieces. Like she's done, I think 3 or 4 other movies, and they're all about like from like it's like one's about John Lennon, one's about, I think she just released one about Amy Winehouse last year.
Oh, okay.
And then a couple years before that, there was like it was like another guy as well. I don't remember,
Okay.
but it's based off his memoir.
Mm.
And I think that's Aaron Taylor Johnson plays that character. He's in 1 or 2 or 3 of them. Obviously, they work together a lot.
I mean, is that how they met, or was it after?
Yeah, I want to say they met because he was playing John Lennon in one of the movies that she was directing. I believe. I think that's how they met. I don't know if it goes into there anyway, but it doesn't matter.
Does not matter.
But yeah, it just seemed weird that she would do this, like, not... I mean, I guess, like, biographical...
Yeah, and
kind of.
this is the only outing she has as director in this series. The
Yeah.
other 2 are directed by the same person.
The same person.
And written by the same people as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a different writer for this first one as well. And I wonder if that is a reason.
I kind of get that in a way. I feel like she wanted to do certain things with this movie based on like how certain things are filmed. Because I feel like the movies, I should say, for all 3 that we're going to get into, like they're not shot terribly. Like
No, I mean, yeah, for the most part, all 3 movies are shot fairly well.
Yeah, they're shot fairly well. Like even like I think there's like kind of a little bit of like she does like this contrast, obviously like Christian Grey, like you could play off the gray kind of thing, the color, and then you see Anna, who's the other main character. She's dressed in like these floral bright colors. So I mean, like I kind of like what she does a little. You get like a little minor taste of it in the beginning, and then it kind of just like drops off towards the end of the movie. But I liked that idea. I think like artistically wise, like you're getting like obviously like a taste of like, oh, he's just like this drab, like black and white. He's got all his pencils in a row and he's like fixing them if they're crooked, like very analytical type dude. And she's, you know, free living and like, I'm in college and I'm gonna live my life, and like, you know, flowers, and she's got friends and she goes out, and they're just very opposite. No,
No. Yeah,
I was like, no?
No, just because I have certain opinions about her.
What do you
like,
think?
especially as the movie goes on. Like, she has friends, but like, I'm surprised at that.
That she has friends?
Yeah, I'm surprised she has friends, and the whole movie. I mean, what's so special about her? In my opinion, she's a very boring character.
I mean, I feel like there's nothing particularly like spectacular about her, but I feel like from Christian's point of view, I feel like that's kind of what he likes. Is like he wants to find a submissive, and she 100% like just off like the first chance of meeting her like seems like she would be a submissive. So for him, like that's what's special about her.
She's a blank wall that he can just be like.
Well, yeah, especially once he like finds out that she's like a virgin, like he's all.
Where have you been?
Where have you been all my? Like he literally looks at her like she's like the rarest diamond in like the land of just like, where have you been? I must paint you, like kind of thing.
Yeah, and then when she said that, I was like, yeah, I can see that.
Oh, I can totally see it, especially because I feel like in the first one, and like obviously, you know, we get growth from her over like the film series. I mean, we do like arguably. She seems like super innocent, very childish, very naive. Like very like I won't get drunk and go down this dark alley. Like, come on, girl. Like, let's be real. And you're graduating college and you don't know all this stuff. Like, I could get past like her being a virgin because like yeah, maybe you're saving yourself for someone special, marriage, whatever. But the fact that she is, I guess, as naive as she is, graduating college seems a little shaky at best.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, I didn't think about it from that perspective of like his perspective, I guess.
Well, and that's why they have the book series.
Oh, joy! We can read that now.
No, after you read the first 3.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to like, yes, she extremely. I honestly think both of them are very awkward as characters, like super awkward together. Like at least in the first one, I may change my mind a little bit more towards the second one. But yeah, I mean, I definitely see where like, especially from meeting all these characters in the first round, that you definitely get the contrast of, or like the parallels to Twilight. Like Anna is absolutely Bella.
Yeah, we were playing that game of like Rita Ora's character comes in, she's got the
the short haircut. That's
what's her
just
nose?
like
Green, the actress that plays her in Twilight.
Oh my god, I can't think of her name.
It's like something Green, I think.
Oh, that's the actor's name.
Yeah. But you can
Ashley
tell like
Green?
Maybe.
I think it's Ashley Green. But anyway, her, whatever that character's name, the fucking sister or whatever. And then Jose, who's like her friend that's obviously in love with her and actually tells her that he likes her, and you said gets a little handsy.
He gets a little creepy, and she's like, no.
And he's like, yes.
No, and he's like, oh, come on. And then Christian luckily is stalking her and comes out of the
Thank God
shadows.
for Edward. I mean, Christian.
Christian is...
Yeah, Christian completely pushes Jose out of the way.
Glad we cleared that up.
I know, thank God. The writing, I mean, we already talked a little bit about the writing from the books, but I feel like the writing in this movie is so stiff. Like, there's so many things that I feel like people, like, I don't know, maybe I just haven't seen enough of the world. Maybe I'm naive, but I feel like people don't talk like this. Like that you should steer clear of me. Like I'm obviously a bad boy from the streets, or like I'm a bad person.
And I mean, and obviously it's a movie, like
absolutely.
But yeah, no one talks like that.
But I feel like if you make it more relatable, like certain things, like you could be like, yeah, I could see somebody doing that. Like I feel like the most relatable character for me was like the roommate.
Even that.
Like I mean, I don't know, or maybe the mom. Like I really liked the mom, Marcia Gay
right.
Harden as the mom. Like I enjoyed her. Like she didn't have a huge role, but like I personally felt like she cared. Like I believed her as like the caring mom, the one that's like, I see this child in need, I'm gonna adopt him, take him in, blah blah blah. I get it. I buy it. I buy into it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. All the dialogue, like we said again, especially in I forget what the last one. Depending on what timeline it is that they release, but that one we just talked about one, and it was NPC dialogue.
I think that might have been the third one. I don't know.
What? No, it was a movie we just did. We just released
Oh,
it.
that we just did. The last movie that we did
It was Glass.
was Glass.
Yeah, Glass and Unbreakable. I felt like it was very,
Well,
a
that's
lot of dialogue
just,
that doesn't feel natural.
Ooh, God, can you imagine if M. Night Shyamalan directed one of these movies?
Ooh.
Make it happen. Yeah, and then, he just, I feel like we, like, Christian's, like, originally, like, Christian's so mysterious, you know, like, we get this whole, like, bad boy, kind of, like, you know, millionaire, or, you know, he comes from money, big shot name CEO kind of vibe.
Yeah, of company.
Of company that
does business.
I feel like it says it in the books, but honestly,
we can't go off that. I've
I
only
don't know.
seen the movie, and I know that he said we do business. It was
Yeah.
like tech, but also this philanthropy here, and we do things in Africa.
Yeah, this is the only reason why I slightly wish that Mooney was here, because I feel like maybe she's read it, and I feel like maybe she knows what he does. But I mean,
if you know what it is, put it in the comments, because we'd love to read about that.
It would make. I almost wish. I wish two things, and I feel like I'll reiterate this once we finish the series. But like, I wish that we either got more story or like more background to like Christian as a character or whatever, so that way like more things kind of made sense, and we weren't just so like hit in the face with like, you know, my past and this is the way that I am and you don't understand. Or I wish that they shortened it and from 3 movies into 2 movies, and we just kind of got like this, like, okay, let's go, we're moving, like not as much sex, like we get it, they're doing it, they're banging it out.
Well, I mean, that's sort of part of the story, but that's a recurring issue with us, is that like these like multiple series of movies could just be like a movie.
Oh
or
yeah,
2
like
movies.
just wait till we do after. It's gonna be good. We're doing it. I wrote down like, oh yeah, so that gets into my like, he's kind of mysterious, and then like he ends up like kind of saving her, and then all of a sudden we just get like right out of the gate, like without warning, he just immediately jumps into like the deep end of like kind of Creeperton, of just very much like, he just comes out of the gate with this. I wrote it down because the line is just so like just out of left field. He just says, if you were mine, you wouldn't be able to sit down for a week. And it just like, I feel like it's different if like they're having this back and forth of like, kind of like, oh, I just, you know, I want to be with you. And they're like kind of going, you know, they're kind of like riffing off of each other, like, and they're kind of flirting and getting into like the sexual tension. But he just like shoots this out like a bullet, and you're like, even I'm sure she was like, what? Like, what are you doing?
What do you mean?
Yeah, like he just says like,
who are you, mister?
Who just comes out? Yeah, like who comes out and just says that? Like, especially for her not knowing him, like on any level other than like, my roommate was sick, I'm supposed to interview you, kind of thing. But yeah, he's just but I don't know. Yeah, his dialogue is wild. But and then I think the more that we got into these movies, the more I actually liked her dialogue. Like, she's actually, and I don't know if it's just Dakota Johnson, like her own personality kind of spiking through. Because I feel like she plays this character in a lot of movies, like Madam Web. You kind of get like this, she's kind of this awkward college-esque kind of student kind of vibe character. Like, I told you I really liked her in what is it, like, not Single all the way, but How to Be Single. Yeah, like I enjoyed her in that because that's who she was supposed to be, and that it fits perfectly. But I'm just, I don't know. And here, like, yes, she's coming out of college. Maybe she's supposed to be like kind of this awkward, you know, doe-eyed looking thing. But when he's like, oh, you want to see my playroom? And she's like your Xbox and stuff, because that's 100% like, even though I know what they mean, I would totally say that. Like, if you were like, do you want to see my, like, burgundy room? Because it's not really red. I would be like, oh, is this where your PlayStation is? Where you keep your pops?
Yes.
I mean, and that means 2 things. But, yeah, I don't know.
It's something that someone would say. I'll give them that.
Yeah. And then I also wrote down, because once they get into the room and she's like, you know, he's giving her this whole, like, I have this contract, a non-negotiable kind of thing. And she's kind of like, I'm a virgin. And he gets all excited because, like, she's untouched by man. I feel like I wish there would have been more of like that stereotypical, if you will, first time. Like this awkward kind of like, because I mean, like, I feel like in like film or in TV or whatever, you kind of get this like awkward first time where it's not exactly what you think it's going to be. Like most of the time you think it's going to be like this romantic what she gets of just like,
all the candles and
yeah,
shit
like this person loves me, the satin sheets, and like it's great. And I just want it to be like,
not once she was like, ow, stop, no, you're, ow,
yeah, like
no,
ow,
no,
this
you're
hurt,
on my hair, you're on my hair.
No, hang on, the back of the car, it's just really awkward. And if you had not that time, like, great for you.
In the car.
I don't know. Like, just like, yeah. I don't know. Like it's college. So, I mean, great. Yeah. If you have or have not, that's great for you. Just, I think I don't know. It probably would have been, it's not this movie. It's more comedy and comedic, but I found that funny of just kind of like her being like, I don't know that actually hurts. And then like the blood cleanup at the end, like I'm getting too personal, but, anyway.
All right.
What are your thoughts? I feel like I'm just going off of my list.
I hate these movies.
I know you do.
I don't like them. They're not good. They're not bad. They're just, they exist. And I've been like, not made to watch them, but I wouldn't seek them out on my own. They're not for me.
Well, this is like one of those, I probably wouldn't have watched it again unless it was for this. Like I saw it the first time because I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. It's based on a book. I know it was huge, made a lot of money, yada, yada, yada. But I don't think I would really see this again if I didn't need to. Unless it was like a drinking game. I feel like you could make it into so. That might be fun. The negotiating scene where they go to the office.
That was all right.
I liked the back and forth between the two of them.
Yeah.
Because I like that, the opposites and blah, blah, blah. I hated the lighting.
Yeah.
What the fuck was with that lighting?
Yeah. This is where I have my business meetings.
I was having such an issue like the whole time we're watching this, and I'm just like, how is she supposed to read the contract? You can't even see anything because it's like this like darkish like mood lighting where it's like, yeah, it's supposed to be maybe like sexy or whatever. She's wearing like this nice dress and it's like skin tight, and he just like, you can tell like the tension for him is there, not for her, because she's like, this is a business meeting and I'm business. And then they bring in like wine and sushi. And the whole time I'm like,
yeah, I kept making jokes about, yeah. Oh, you haven't even touched your office sushi yet.
Yeah, like, the whole time it's just like, oh, it's getting warm, and then like it smells like hot sushi in here, and it's just not
your
good.
Your sushi's getting warm.
You haven't touched your warm sushi. But yeah, that bothered me greatly. And then I know the entire time too, like me and you were going back and forth. I'm like, we have so many questions on this contract. Like so many questions. Like I know they kind of touch on little hits of it of like things that are going to be used, and like, is she going to stay with him like Friday, Saturday, Sunday? I'm like, is she getting paid? Or like, I feel like there's like an allowance that happens that they don't talk about.
Yeah, there's probably like maybe in the books or something they bring.
Well, yeah, because obviously like you can't, I feel like it's kind of, it would be weird to be like, oh yeah, I'll give you this amount of money a week, because at that point
3 days a week you're locked in my sex dungeon.
Yeah, like she handcuffed, and then
no food.
He's like, I'll throw you a piece of Wonder Bread once a week, and you just
slide it under the door.
Yeah. And then I think, I don't remember if it's the first one or the second one, but at some point, I think it's the second one, because he's trying to win her back or whatever, but he orders food for them, and he's like, we'll get a steak and some fries, but in the contract it's like you have to eat healthy and like stay healthy, and
he said that you may eat from a prescribed list of foods.
I wonder what that list of foods is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably not
sushi. She's not eating like pineapple every day.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't know. I have so many questions about.
Yeah, I had a lot of questions about the contract as well.
Yeah, I was just
looking at my notes, and all I put was a stupid fucking movie.
Oh, once we get into like the second and the third one, there's some quotes that I like wrote, and I'm so excited. Yeah, and most of mine are like quotes from this one. I'm just like, I'm quotes. Just 50 Shades of fucked up.
Yeah,
like,
you can't.
Just what is this? What is this? Are there 50 Shades of Grey, or are there more?
I know we kept saying like, is that a saying? 50 Shades of Grey.
Maybe it is. See, this is why I'm like, maybe I'm just naive about it, or maybe I just don't know. But
because it's like not the color; it's his last name, Grey. Or
Yeah,
is-
because it's gray with an E.
yeah.
So, and then I don't know. It's a play on a color name. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Care to look it up?
I just the last thing I wrote on my notes was just like I just put the ending Ryan's face, and I will be posting that, by the way, because it's hilarious.
Yeah, if you don't
But
follow
just-
us on our social medias,
it's-
follow us on Instagram and
It was so funny. I just I remember it ended, and I just whenever we watch like movies like this that are so terrible, I love just looking at you and just seeing your reactions, especially if I've seen it and I know how things are going, because I'll just look at you and you'll just make these faces, and it's great. The last thing I'm going to bring up is just she, like Anna and Christian, they're doing this thing back and forth, and then at a point she's, she wants more, and she's like, I want romance, and, very...
I don't do romance.
Yeah, and he's like, he doesn't do romance. We get it. Okay, cool. And she's just like, well, show me the worst. Like, what's the worst thing you could do? And the worst thing that he could do is just slapping her really hard on the ass 6 times, which I'm like, that's the worst you can do. Like, she ex-nayed, like, clamps and, like, there are so many things that they X'd off this list that I'm like, this is the worst thing, is, like, a couple slaps on the ass.
It's the worst thing that I can show in this movie.
Yeah, like, I feel like some people are into, like what about, like, the hottest wax ever, or, like, at a certain point, maybe blood.
Boiler.
Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's other things than just getting slapped on the ass only 6 times.
With
and
a
it's
braided
not
belt.
Well, yeah, with a belt, like, of all things. Like, it's not like he used like a cat of 9 tails and was just like going to
It seems like that would have been the move.
I mean, what's the worst? Like, I mean, they didn't even get into like asphyxiation or any, like, choking or like hanging her from the, I mean, not like hanging, but like,
Yeah, like from her nipples.
or like whatever, anything. Like, I feel
Play.
like there's so many, like, even just, and like, this is my like basic Rolodex of knowledge, not even like like, I have a friend whose sister was like into this whole, like, she was a dominatrix for, like, I don't want to say a living, but like a living.
Yeah.
And
do it on the side.
and
You show
based
up to
on, like,
bachelor parties and you just whip dudes around.
yeah, like, based on what I know from her, I'm like, I feel like there are so many worse things. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not for hitting at all. Like, I feel like violence is a no-no, but like, I feel like based on what we saw, absolutely not the worst. Or maybe
No.
it was just emotionally the worst. I don't know.
I don't know. She asked for it.
She also
And
asked
immediately got mad when it was like, oh, get away,
don't touch me. Don't even look at
away
me.
from me. And then they just break up, and then the
And I like that
credits.
she covered up her, like, her boobs or whatever too, even though, like, that's the one thing that we perpetually see throughout the entire series.
Yeah, it's her boobs.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like there wasn't a lot of story here. It was more like an introduction. Once again, I feel like you could have shortened a lot, added more of a storyline, and then you could have made a better movie, but it's not.
Yeah.
Not my monkeys, not my circus.
Yeah.
So,
You want to throw a rating on this?
yes, please. Oh, me?
Please go ahead.
I'm gonna give it a 2. Because I feel like this is like, especially as the series goes on, it's kind of like a so bad it's good for me. Like, I had
get
fun.
it.
I had fun with you making fun of it, and I remember there were so many times that we wanted to, like, tell each other things, and I was like, no, save it. Like, we'll talk about it here. So I'm gonna give it a 2. I don't know if I like Dakota Johnson. I feel like I would like her as a person. I feel like she seems like one
She
of
might
those,
be
like,
a nice lady.
yeah, she seems like a down to earth person based on what I've seen, but I don't know. I don't know her,
enough,
obviously.
yeah. For me, I would, as badly as I want to give it a certain rating, I won't, just because there are some redeeming qualities to it, like
Shot well.
cinematography, I guess, is all right.
Mm-hmm.
You get some nice shots, and, like, is this the one where they're, no, that's the second one, huh? Where they're in the plane,
No, I think this is this one.
where they get, like, towed in that little,
Where it's like the guy's like, I'll be your co-pilot. And
Yeah,
then
and
she's
he-
spinning
he
around. He's like, let
takes
me
him out, and
rock
they-
it, dude.
yeah, and they glide
I think
out.
that's this one.
like things
yeah.
like that, like, I guess, and like him flying the helicopter. It's a move, I guess.
I mean, when you got money and you got time.
Yeah, and I had like questions of like, how long is this taking place, which we will answer later on. For me, I'll give it a 1.5.
That's not terrible.
It's not terrible, but like
Yeah.
it could have been better. Dialogue could have been better.
Oh, there's so many things that could have been better, but
yeah,
it's
but
also
they didn't. They chose to do it a certain way, and that's what you gave us, and that's how I felt about it.
Yeah, and the fact that they even chose to make this movie at all, because it should have obviously been like, if they would have made this like a porno, perfect.
Yeah, it would have probably been the
Great.
best.
Oh,
it would have been the most viewed porno since
it would have been
Space Nuts or whatever the one
Oh,
was.
what was the one? I feel like it was really big when I worked in the sex store. It was about like pirates or something.
Oh, yeah,
like
that,
I feel
yeah.
like that was like huge.
Yeah, sure.
And it had like, yeah, I just, if you know what I mean, that's it. But yeah, I just, it could have been better. So much better. But on to the second one.
Yeah.
50 Shades Darker?
50 Shades Darker 2017.
Is it darker?
I guess.
I mean,
the budget
yeah.
goes up here.
Oh, was it 40 last
So
time?
yeah, it was like 45 last go around. 40.
40. Okay.
Even 40 mil. Now it's up to 55 mil.
Ooh, what'd they do with that extra 15?
Ooh, I don't know, but it took in 382 million.
So sales went down.
Sales went down a little bit, but cinema score B plus.
Really? I mean, okay. Okay. Fuck.
I don't agree with any of these cinema scores, by the way.
Well, okay. I feel like at least this one, I get more of like, there's definitely a story here. Like there's plot points. Like you get more background. We're meeting people. You get like the family more. Like, so I get that there's more story happening versus just kind of like, here's two people. She's colorful. He's black and white. And now they're going to do it. And then she's not comfortable anymore. Story ends. Like you get way more this go around of like, there's, you know, his background, where he's from, the adopting thing. Like there's definitely like, she's getting a job and the, you know, the boss is an asshole. And like, so there's at least like somewhat of like you're kind of like, all right, where is this going? I'd see B plus. I would have probably given the first one, like, if we were to, not to like, I know we do ratings here, but like if I were to do like a letter grade, I probably would have given the first one maybe like a D plus and maybe this one a C plus. Like I feel like B plus is too much.
B plus is way too high, and it only goes from here. So that's why I was like, cool, okay.
Eek.
Yeah.
This one was directed by James Foley.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually seen 2 of his movies prior to this. I've seen Fear with Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon.
Okay.
It's actually pretty good. I'm knowing what I know about like that he's directed these 2. I can see why they chose him to direct this one, because Fear is very much like a.
Is that a suspense movie?
It's like basically it's like a thriller. It's very much one of those like 90s guy falls for girl, is obsessed, and you know, like is like the, you know, I'm the only one for you. If I can't have you, nobody can.
Because they went in directions.
Yeah, very Cape Fear, very kind of. Sorry.
No, I get you.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I could see that because they chose to do certain things, and I wrote that in my notes.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it might be for the third one though.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, got it.
So it makes sense.
So he's known for like directing more like thriller-y.
Yeah.
And then before that he did a lot of Madonna's music videos. Like the artist Madonna?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, okay. And I found my fun fact. I was really excited because I was like, oh, I get to do a fun fact. He was the best man at Madonna and Sean Penn's wedding.
Interesting. Yeah, that's wild.
Fun tidbit. So anyway,
it's a lot of videos to direct to be the best man.
I mean, maybe they just hit it off really well.
Or maybe, well, it might. I mean, he was the best man.
Yeah, he was the best
maybe
man.
Him and Sean Penn were like
buddies, and
sick.
He's like, oh, I got this friend. He's gonna do your music videos. It's gonna be great. Wear those cones on your boobs.
Yeah.
The scene that I wrote down a couple questions, and my first one was how would you feel in this movie? It kind of is towards the opening where we see the friend again, the Jose friend, that was obviously really in love with Anna. How would you feel about having your friend who you know is like an artist and does like photography and everything, is having this big event, and you walk into this event and you just see these huge like glamorous shots of yourself that you had like maybe you had taken, but like he wasn't going to do anything with. He's just testing a camera, and they're just like blown up like on.
But they're all like definitely like not candid shots. They're like she's looking right at the camera. Like they were doing something with that camera.
Yeah, so I'm a little confused, but like maybe she just like yes, I'm maybe not expecting it, and maybe he's like, oh, I just want to do a few test shots, like look at me in the camera and just do this.
And just be playful, like
yeah, and just be kind of like, oh, like take your jacket and be like me. I don't know, like I would maybe want to know, but then he's like, oh, I would have told you, but then you would have been like, no, and you're so gorgeous, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, you know, and consent.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like, or not even like a likeness, because it's her, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. Just really weird. Feel really weird about it.
She could sue him for every single one of those pictures. It's a room full of them.
So true, but she won't because submissive.
Well, that and I laughed because one of my notes was, of course he bought all the fucking pictures.
He went in and he's like, nobody can have these photos.
Well, somebody bought all of them, and I was like, well, I wonder who that is. Oh, yeah.
The one person with all the money.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was like a crisscross and it was like the brother that's dating the roommate. It's just like, I want all the pictures. I want all the photos.
But then that would have been a way better movie.
Oh, see, I know.
Like, lovers quarrel.
I want her and the roommate together. So at this point in the movie, they like we last left off where like they split ways and they're not together anymore. And obviously Anna still thinks about him from time to time, and then obviously he's definitely thinking about her because he like is sending her stuff. He's buying these photos. He's trying to get back in her good graces, and like he sends her like this gorgeous flower of like white roses.
Yes.
And she just goes to like throw them away, and then she like goes and she thinks about it and she's like, no. And I wonder what her thought was from like stopping. Was it because the flowers were so gorgeous, or is it because she didn't want to throw a whole fucking glass vase of water in a trash can?
Right in the trash. Immediately that trash would have been full, and you would have had to take it out, bitch.
It would have been it would have been full with like flowers, leaves, water, broken glass, like, and who knows, maybe that glass breaks the bag.
Oh yeah, and then it's got leaves and water. I would, if I was her roommate, I would have just been like, you know, you're taking that out, right?
Yeah, like I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
You're doing those dishes.
It's fucking weird. Yeah, and we didn't touch on this in the last movie, but the roommate is dating Christian's brother. I don't know. I think he's older, younger.
Yeah, they never really. Did they talk about it after that? After they see him on the couch, him and Christian have like this rapport that's very strange. Then he leaves. Then he goes, I'll see you later. Yeah,
I feel like. I don't know. I maybe like I just blocked it out of my memory, or I don't remember. But at some point, maybe there was like a notation of like maybe he showed up with the brother, or the brother was there and she just met him, or he goes to the school. I have no idea. But anyway, the roommate and the brother of Christian, Anna's roommate, Christian's brother, have been sleeping together since like before Anna and Christian got together, which I mean, they fit together for me. It's not a bad pairing, but I'm just like... How did they meet?
Was it at something? I feel like it was at something.
I know that when they were out partying in the first movie, and they're like getting shots and doing drinks, like he's there dancing with her. So maybe she just randomly met him at the bar.
I wonder if, because with you later, you find out that Christian has those people going out looking for ladies for him to bone. Like taking pictures, and like that's what those files are. So I wonder if maybe the brother has a similar setup.
I feel like that's not. I don't think he has them going out to search for people. I think he finds somebody and then he has somebody go and like.
Oh, that's what it was.
Them.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say. I was like, I don't think
it was the background check, right?
Yeah, it was like
that's
a background check.
Okay,
Which, like,
you're right.
To be fair, and I think I mentioned this when we were watching the movie. I'm like, okay, this guy's obviously like filthy fucking rich. He's a very high profile CEO of company.
Yeah, they do business at company.
Yeah, business. Lots of business stuff here. Ooh, so much business. Hot chicks in gray suits. Business. But I mean, if he has the money to do it, like, I mean, I would make sure that she's just not like a money hungry whore. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because nothing screams money hungry whore like
I'm not paying you for this.
Like a Home Depot store clerk.
Yeah, I work at the hardware store.
She works at the
How
hardware
convenient.
Store.
Sell me this rope.
Did what's her name in Twilight work at a hardware store?
No, I don't think she was in high school. She didn't have a job.
She just drove like a beat up truck.
Yeah, the truck was a gift.
Was it a gift? Yeah, it was from the dad. Okay.
No, yeah, from the
Right?
the reservation.
The Reservoir
guy.
Dogs?
No, the Jacob's dad.
Yeah, the Reservoir Dogs. Because they're from the reservation.
Yeah,
and
yeah. It's reservation dogs, not reservoir.
You know,
dogs.
I was trying to be fun.
Yeah, no, I got you. There's another show that's that too. That's
I'm
why.
trying to look. Yeah, because I wrote down like all the similarities from the first one. I was like, she drives an old car, just like somebody we know, lives in a gloomy town, has a friend who's in love with her,
Yeah,
but
it
she
takes
doesn't live
place
in
in
back.
Washington, in
Yeah.
Seattle specifically.
Yeah, has a mom who lives in another state. Stepdad's a golfer, but not into baseball. Like, so many similarities. She literally just took everything from Twilight, and she's like, well, instead of baseball, it'll be softball, and instead of a man, it's going to be a boy, or I don't know what she did. The setup is just terrible.
I mean, these movies are terrible.
Yeah. We meet Anna's boss.
Yes, Jack.
No, it was like
Hyde.
Jack Hyde.
Jack Hyde.
Like Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. Oh.
So smart.
Putting that together. And I gotta say, like, you obviously get this vibe from him that he's like, ooh, attractive. Ooh, so attractive to her.
Oh, to her?
Yeah.
Yeah, which again, it's like, what the fuck are they seeing in this person?
She's
She's
not a bad looking woman.
She's just a vanilla. She has no personality.
She's just a vanilla woman.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, woman, come into my.
I mean,
office.
okay, to be fair, like maybe in like a 50s man style where it's like, oh, vanilla woman number 12. She's a submissive. She can stay at home and cook and take care of the kids.
I guess it just seems like
Maybe?
it's like you're only caring about her because I've chosen to write this story about her.
Yeah.
And
very,
I gave
like,
everyone
plain
else
Jane.
character traits, but not her.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe it's more in the book. I don't know.
we just want a little more personality.
Maybe.
Just a little bit. I think she does have a few funny lines. I think I mentioned that, like, it peeks through here and there, like her delivery on some things. I'm like, all right, that's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, and she's starting to get a little spicy.
Yeah, she starts to
With
get like
people,
more of
like,
a sense.
attitude
Yeah,
kinda
more of a
thing.
sense of who she is, and I like that about this one as the series goes on, where she's like, "No, I'm gonna stand up for myself, and I'm gonna do this," and then she pegs him. It's great. No, she doesn't, but I wish she did.
Oh, I was like, what movie did I?
Wish she
Whoa.
did. She tracks a lot of weird guys. There's this moment where she finally is like, okay, I'm gonna take Christian back, and we're gonna do this thing together. And she goes, and I think like he gets upset over something, and she literally says the phrase, "I know something that will calm you down," and she takes him to a grocery store to go shopping for like dinner that they're gonna make that night. And I literally just had this instant thought in my head of like, how much would you love if I was like, hey, you're angry about whatever, X, Y, and Z, work, you had a bad day, whatever. And I just go, I know something that'll make you feel better. How about we take a trip to Trader Joe's?
My favorite fucking place in the world.
Like,
I would be so mad. I fucking hate
something
Trader Joe's. Not this. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong.
And here's Ryan's rant about Trader Joe's.
I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant, and
Here we go.
stick with me, or put in the comments if you feel the same way. Trader Joe's is way overrated. I like their things. I hate their stores. Why are the stores so small? I can't fit down a fucking aisle. The parking lots, small as shit. I feel like somebody said this. I feel like it's a comedian. They said that the Trader Joe's parking lots are small on purpose to make it seem like it's more popular than it really is. And that's my conspiracy theory.
Actually, because when I'm at Trader Joe's, I feel like there's never more than 2 people in a line.
I feel like it's always like a mad dash at that. All those registers. Like there's always lots of people there to check you out, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's fine. But like it's more of the shopping experience being there. Like you can't do anything because there's just people like reaching over you and being rude.
They're just
and
grabbing
like,
stuff.
I'm like, say excuse me, man.
Yeah.
I get angry. I get really angry at Trader Joe's. I'm sorry.
So anyway, that answers that question.
That's my fucking rant.
It's definitely gonna calm me down.
But no, she took him to like some fancy pants fucking grocery store.
It's probably like a Gelson's or a Whole Foods or
it was something. Some
shout out to Gelson's.
yeah,
Not
somewhere
Gelson's.
in a garden wood shop.
to get that some good vanilla.
You gotta get good vanilla
Gotta
ice
get good
cream.
vanilla.
Ben and Jerry's.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to say this. Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger.
Bassinger?
Yeah.
Basinger?
She's
shit,
an
you got me with that.
Oscar-winning actress.
Doesn't show here.
Not in this movie. Oh, she's terrible. God, she's terrible in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just her character in general, but like her acting, I just wrote down is atrocious.
Yeah, I put my notes. I put Mrs. Robinson's acting was better in Batman, but not by much.
Arguable, yeah.
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
she's what, Vicky Vale in Batman '89,
Yes. Yeah.
and definitely looks like she's had work done. For
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. She's got to. I mean, she's
Yeah.
definitely aged, which is not
She's
bad.
fine. No,
yeah, she's fine.
Aged, but she looks.
Just the acting's just terrible.
Yeah.
Ugh. I mean, like, obviously that not everybody's on. You know, they're not putting out their best work in these movies.
No, my second note right below that was terrible line deliveries, and I just put for everyone.
Yeah, she also has like just some weird like out of left field comments that she makes, but
Yeah.
I will say that the chemistry between Anna and Christian is slightly more believable in this one. Like in the first one, I'm just like, these are two opposite people. Where's the chemistry? It's not vibing. In this one, I definitely feel like they have more of a sense of like who each other are, not like by themselves, but then also like they kind of get the gist of like who the other person is, and they kind of, I guess, like mesh a little bit better, in my opinion.
I suppose.
I feel it a little bit more. This is where we get the I guess famous "I Don't Want to Live Forever" song with Taylor Swift and Zayn.
Oh, was that what that was?
That song was freaking everywhere. And I even like looked it up because I was just like, did it like top the charts for 16 weeks? It didn't.
It didn't.
But for some reason, I just remember like that song being everywhere. Like even afterwards, we were done watching these movies, and like it was like, between that song and Ellie Goulding's "Love Me Like You Do." Those two songs, I was just like, God, I can't get these stupid songs out of my head.
I still hear that one. I feel like it plays a lot where I'm at.
Oh. Yeah, I just when you hear the beginning of it, and you're just like, oh my God, just turn it off. Like she has so many better songs. The boss. I feel like when we meet the boss, going back to the boss, when we first meet him, like he's not so bad.
Well, yeah, because they're
He
showing
seems
that
okay, and then he just immediately
turns into that Mr. Jackal. Mr. Jekyll.
Just he does a complete like 360 of like.
Yeah.
He even like looks dirtier. Like he somehow looks like he hasn't showered. I think like under his eyes get like dark circles, and like he somehow turns into like I'm a cool boss. Like you can come talk to me. My doors are always open. I got you coffee.
We're gonna
Aren't
go
I
get
cool?
a beer after
yeah,
work.
like we're gonna get beers after work, which is totally inappropriate.
Right in front of the HR lady.
Right in
too.
front of the HR
And she's
lady.
like, yeah, go ahead and network. And there's nobody there.
Yeah, there was. What's the networking? Like I know I can absolutely not go get a drink with my boss. There's no way. Like just my boss. If it was a work event, absolutely, because we can socialize and you're networking, you're getting to know your coworkers. But if it was just a one-on-one with me and my male boss, absolutely not. That's an HR nightmare waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, we kind of get a little bit more of why maybe she might be okay with that.
Yeah.
I feel like this whole movie we just get like they were trying to make up for the story that they didn't have in the first one. So we have like 3, if not more, like side plot stories that are happening, and they're just not very well fleshed out. Like you get the whole like Kim Basinger, like Elena storyline of just like, why is she still a person? Like, yeah, she's the mom's friend that like took young Christian's virginity, which like statutory first off.
Yeah, and like Anna is the only voice of reason with that.
Yeah, how is she the only voice? Well,
like,
because
no,
nobody knows allegedly.
She's a terrible person. It's like, I feel like there's like SNL skits about that too, where it was. I want to say it's like Pete Davidson. They're in court, and it's like,
yeah. Okay,
and it's like it's hard to. If the tables were turned, yes, it's very predatory.
Well, yeah, because I think like Pete. I remember Pete Davidson being like, "Yeah, it fucking happened." Everybody's like, "Mom, man,"
And
I think I remember this.
Especially like the movie "That's My Boy." Like he's the product of that, and it's
he's
like, dude,
like
the
you're
whole
the
school
man.
cheers for you,
yeah.
But yeah,
for some reason she's voice of reason.
Yeah.
And then we also get one of Christian's older past submissives, and she's like psycho, and like we kind of get like her brief backstory, but I feel like if you had one of these in the first movie, it would have once again given us more of a story, more of an interest, like a better follow, and then that leads into like his other not his other submissive, but like the flip side of that, which is like his dominant, which is Kim Basinger now that you meet, because you meet more of the family. That makes sense to me now. And then you could flush out her movie in this, and then you kind of get a taste of the boss, and then he comes back in the third one, and now you have 3 equal storylines that you can have more background on.
Yeah, instead of just he just comes on to Anna, they fire him because obviously that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
And then he just has this plot of like revenge.
Yeah, which I mean,
which they tack on later for, we'll speak
story.
about that when that
comes. Like, because story.
Yeah, but it's like it's a half-assed thing that I feel like it was a throwaway line that they were just like, oh, and this.
Yeah.
We can't talk about it because we're going to talk about that next week.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. They're all bad. They're all terrible, and there's like half-assed stories and like her crash out of just like, what do you have? Master sleeps in your bed.
Yeah. Okay, in that regard, in that whole scene where like she comes into the house and like the submissive and I think Leela, and she's got like a gun and she's like, I'm here for you, and she like points the gun at her, and then like Christian comes in and she's like, get out of the house or whatever, and she's like, no. I'm like, I'm kind of on Christian's sides where it's like, look, he knows how to deal with this girl. Like, yes, she was a submissive, she still like answers to him, so like it's not the greatest, but like bitch has a fucking gun. Like, if he can tame her enough to like get the gun out of her hand, great, do it.
Yeah, because he comes over later and she's just mad that he's been with other women, like a normal virgin would probably.
Well, yeah, but like he even like she asks him in the first movie, she's like, how many women have stayed here? And he's like 15. He just right off the bat 15. You know, so she knows.
Like at his place.
Yeah, he's very open about it. Like she's.
Yeah, you
just
signed
like,
the contract, bitch.
Yeah, you signed the. Well, I don't know if she ever does. I think that's the thing.
That was you're right, because I was like, yeah, and she's like, maybe, I don't know, and he's like,
well, yeah, and then she gets this like coy, like, I don't know, like I might sign it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, bitch,
do or don't. Like, if I were him, I would have been like, all right, you're not signing this in like 4 weeks. I'm gone. I'm out. I'm finding somebody new.
Yeah, I put that in my notes. It's a lot of back and forth. Like, I like it, I hate it. Spank me, don't spank me.
Yeah, like what?
Like, what do you want?
Give me something. Yeah. Oh yeah, no. I have a few more notes just because it's so funny. Like I wrote them. I don't think you can see it from here, but we'll get to it. It's written in like huge letters because we'll get to the fantastic ending of this movie. So I wrote down a question, which is kind of not a question. It's kind of more of a statement, but like the big secret, I guess, that we were trying to get out of him in the first one, because she's like, why are you like this? Why are you like this? Which I feel like is somewhat I
already know where you're going.
It's somewhat inappropriate, because I mean, like, sometimes people they just are who they are.
I'm into what I like feet. Or
yeah,
whatever,
some people are just like, maybe
this.
There's not a full reason. Like, it's the same thing as attraction, I feel like, especially because they're dealing with like sex and attraction in this movie. I feel like it's not fair to just like almost like shake somebody and be like, why are you like this? There might be a reason, there might not be a reason. Like, like I may be attracted to brunettes or blondes, and it just may be a thing. It's not because like my mom was a brunette or my dad was a blonde. Like, no,
but it comes in, that does,
it might come in, yeah, it absolutely might come into play. Well, yeah, and obviously he's like, she's like, you like to punish women who look like your mom, which is like,
and he's just like, yeah,
her, and he's just like, yeah,
I'm about that.
Oh, that's so weird. So you're fucking her because she looks like your mom.
And he's just spanking her, and he's like, oh, yeah,
it's my mom. It's my mom. So yeah, that's the big secret, is that he gets off on punishing and then fucking women who look like his mom, who did horrible things in her life. Which is, what a twist. Thank you, M. Night. Are they also not going to address, because I mean, they showed him in the beginning with the whole photo thing. Do we never address the fact that Jose is in love with Anna, and that just never becomes an issue where they have a conversation?
We don't need a conversation. It was had when I said no. She gave him the Bugs Bunny face that, nope.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
yeah, I just feel like that could have been like at least a mini scene of just kind of like, hey, I'm sorry about what happened back at the club. I just like, I've had these feelings for you. And she goes, no, I understand. But like, I just see you more as like a friend or a brother. And like, yeah, friend. But like,
yeah, but then you see him later on and they're all hanging out and he's just kind of like,
he's just cool with it.
Yeah, he just hears stuff and he's like, yeah.
But then you also see him, and you always point it out because you're just like, hey, the friend's there, and he's just kind of like, oh, Christian and I are moving in together, and he's just kind of like, oh,
yeah, like,
and then and then later they're like, Christian proposed, and you're like, oh, like.
But then later on, like, because he hangs out and he's sort of like always situated near Rita Ora's character, and I was kind of wondering like maybe they have a thing or something. Which
also super weird. Like, why are Anna's inner circle just fucking all of these siblings?
Because it's convenient.
I mean, I guess
for writing purposes, I suppose.
All right. I think the last thing we need to absolutely talk about before we get into like rating this thing, towards the end of the movie, Christian is going to Portland, I think, with his assistant or somebody, and he is flying the helicopter, which we see he can fly helicopters in the first one, but something happens to the helicopter where they end up going down. And like, absolutely terrifying. Like, I would never want that to happen to anybody, but I would imagine that in that instance they would be critically injured, if not possibly deceased.
It depends.
Yeah.
Because, like, it does appear like he's heading straight for trees, which would be, catastrophic for a helicopter incident. But he gets it to a point where he's following, like, a river. So there's, like, more flat kind of land. Not really. It's pretty rocky, but I feel like if you get it to a certain point, you can... Yeah. Even if it's... Yeah.
It wouldn't
skidding,
be wouldn't be like a explosion kind of a thing.
Hopefully not, but it could be.
Well, no, and I would hope that what happens in this movie would happen to anybody in that kind of incident. However, I have a huge issue with this happens and they're like, where's Christian? What's going on? He's been missing for hours. His plane went down and we know absolutely nothing. And then he just shows up at the apartment walking.
Yeah, that shit's wild.
With like a little bit of blood on his like
head. I got a little scrape.
He's not even like limping. Like there's no sign of his assistant anywhere. Where did she go? What happened to her? How did he get back?
Well, I was laughing because I'm like, oh my God. And you were like, well, where's the assistant? I was just like, I had to eat her to survive. Because they are like out in the middle of like the Washington wilderness.
3 hours, he got so hungry.
I ate her entire...
I'm so hungry. I had to eat her. I couldn't wait 3 hours.
But to trek back and like, I guess people were searching for them. And you could also say that maybe like the news is delayed and their stories aren't coming out like immediately.
I mean, yeah, but like...
Did a park ranger find him or something?
Like, how did he get back? Like, wouldn't somebody pick up and be like, hey, man, are you bleeding? Do you need to go to a hospital? Hey, aren't you that Christian Grey guy?
Yeah.
Nobody's doing this?
Or did Taylor just be like, no, I got him. I'll drive you back.
Yeah, like, did he not have his phone? Was there not a tracker on the helicopter? You're telling me that this man, who's like a huge CEO of company, just flies out and like, they're like, we have no idea where he is. Like, yes, you could argue he fell in the forest and then like they lost tracking of whatever, right? Like when we go on planes, we turn our plane on airplane mode, whatever. I have so many problems. Just like, I'm like, I wrote it in like big letters where I was just like, what the fuck? Like he was in a helicopter accident. I don't understand how he just like shows up and he's like, I'm fine, I'm all right. Can I see my girl? Like just comes in like he fucking just slayed a dragon out of nothing and like, oh God.
And then they all immediately just leave. Like, oh, okay, he's home, he's safe.
Oh,
and
he's
they just
right.
all in the elevator, good. Like, see you later.
Yeah, like, peace out. Oh my God. I literally was like, no fucking way. I had such a huge problem with it.
It's,
like, I'm glad he's okay. Like, I'm glad we find out later that the assistant's okay or whatever. But
yeah,
I'm like,
a little throwaway line. Oh yeah, she's okay too.
She's
it's like, all right.
And you're like, oh, okay,
at least you didn't have to eat her.
She's still. She's just scarred for life, but it's fine.
Yeah, probably. She'll probably never take a helicopter
and then the fact
ride.
that like that's just how it ends, and then he's like, I almost died, so like I don't want to live without you. Marry me. And that's like where we're at, and then it pans out, and then we see like the true villain, which is Mr. Hyde is back, and he's like has a picture of like the family or whatever.
Well, I like too because he's like secretively like sneaking around the house, taking pictures of other pictures of the family.
But then doesn't he have the framed picture? So
no,
take a picture.
It's like he took a picture of it,
Yeah.
of a framed picture on the wall, went through all that trouble, printed it out, and then immediately like burns it with a cigarette. Like,
I don't understand.
all right.
Obviously, mental issues happening for that one, but
Yeah. 'Cause,
and just I don't know.
they're terrible movies.
The helicopter was where it just like really like just pissed me off.
Yeah.
I was just like, I wish like they would have done like a, Bella, she got in an accident and she fell, and then that's how Edward comes back, is because she was in this big it's very much just following the line. But anyway,
I don't know.
do you have anything else for this?
I got a
one, or-
lot about this.
Do you? Oh, go.
No,
Please.
I don't.
Oh,
What I mean to say is, well, I guess the main thing that I can say is like when is this movie taking place? Like, what is the time duration that has happened? Because it is never said.
it's never stated. I can imagine that it's I would imagine at least a couple weeks, because I feel like there's a lot of time that's going by, because he's like perpetually in the first one being like, did you sign the contract? Did you take a look at that contract? Did you do your research? Did you research? Did you
And
look
that's
at
like
the contract?
a
Blah, blah,
week.
blah. Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, and obviously like she graduates at some point in time, and then she goes to visit. There's a couple birthdays that happen. I don't think any major holidays happen.
No major
within
holidays
this
happen.
series.
So you're shortening the window.
So,
right now.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know based off the book series, because obviously I didn't get enough into it, and because we don't really get a timeline in the movie, I have no idea. I would imagine at least a couple months.
I would hope.
But that's crazy to me that like in a couple of months, and like it's got to be at least like, what's the holidays? Like the holidays start in like Halloween, like October. So, and that's when you get like your Halloween, and then you get Thanksgiving, you get Christmas, and then you get New Year's, right? So I'm imagining, because they don't address any holidays in this series, it's got to be somewhere between like after New Year's, so January, and then
that would be
Halloween. So that's 9 months.
I want to say, because when are graduations?
They're in June.
It's in June.
Typically, yeah. So are you telling me that this happens between June through maybe October?
Yeah, maybe.
So June, July, August, September, October. So if we're gonna
and that's being generous.
Yeah, we're gonna realistically timestamp this at 5 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So
I met this guy. He's proposed this contract. We've been intimate together. I've almost been murdered.
Yeah. He's almost been murdered.
He's almost been murdered.
I met his family. I got a job. Yeah, I moved, got a new car kind of thing. And then they get married.
And then broke up, and then...
Yeah, then they... and then they broke up, got back together.
Then that was, 2 days?
And then the next one, we see them get married, and then that's a whole thing, too, that we're going to get into. But, like, I can't imagine that this is longer than 6 months, which is wild. I mean, yes, some people have those types of relationships where, like, it's just like a honeymoon phase, right? And you're just like, you're so into somebody, and you're like, man, I really could see myself with this person forever, moving in together, loving each other, getting married, having a baby, whatever. But I feel like that's just such a I mean, who's to say, right? Like, if you know, you know.
Who's to say?
If you know, you know.
Who's to say?
I don't know. Like,
Who's to say?
I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert at all on any of this. On relationships, I would never claim that. I just know that when I was going to school for I went to school for psychology. I studied sociology. I even did this course on marriage and family, right? And there was a point where our professor was my timeline that I always talk to people in relationships about is okay, it's 3 years, right, to get to a certain point. So the first year is you're getting to know somebody, you're getting to know their little quirks or whatever, and then you see if you like them, and then after that first year, that's when you make the decision of do I want to take the next step and move in with this person? And then you do, and then that second year you get a whole year of okay, now I live with this person, there's no hiding, Like you see their ultimate like ins and outs. They're good, they're bad, they're ugly, they're morning, they're night, how they shower, their poop smell, whatever you gotta, whatever you're gonna throw in there. So
Okay.
so then after that second year, once you hit your third year is when you should be, okay, do I like this? Do I want to continue this? Do I want to marry this person? And then, commit to this person for my life. And then that should all take place within 3 years. And in that space of 3 years, well, because it's enough time where...
Well, no, I get what you're saying. It doesn't matter. Like, whatever your timeline
Yeah,
is.
whatever your timeline
There are
is.
certain exits, like, to quote, like, How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
That's true. There are exits. And
Yeah.
it's like 1 week, 1 month, 1 year,
Yeah.
2 years, or 5 years, or whatever. Like, there's...
Yeah, so that way
incremental
you're like,
things that
you're not
happen.
wasting anybody's time, but you're still like getting the gist of like, okay, who is this person? Maybe you've had a fight or two and you kind of see how like you mend things. And then obviously you take the relationship from there if you want kids, if you want to get married, if you want to not get married.
Yeah, those
It's
are
up to-
all
it's up to whoever,
Those are
yeah.
the exits that are coming up
It's up to you.
on the highway of life.
And we'll discuss a little bit more about the marriage and future stuff, relationships with them when we discuss the last chapter. But I don't know. I always 6 months is just so wild.
It's pretty wild.
Like some
If
people,
that's what it is, I feel like it's shorter.
it might be short. It may be
But-
shorter, which is even wilder.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, 6 months. Like I feel like I want to say like at 6 months, like me and you were saying like I love you and stuff, which I feel like is somewhat normal, maybe.
Yeah, you're with someone.
I
for
guess.
enough
I mean,
time.
obviously, we're still together for now. No, I'm just kidding.
That's why I was looking too. I was like, oh.
For now. But yeah, I feel like that wasn't too hurried. I feel good about it.
I feel like we. Yeah.
Feel good about it.
I don't think anybody looked at us. Well, that's a little
Yeah.
soon. You guys have
Yeah.
been together for.
And
6
we've only been
months.
together for 8 months now. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And we're married.
So yeah, what? Would you?
What do we think about
What do we think about this movie? For me, I don't like this movie. I don't like any of these movies. They're just sort of they're not for me.
Yeah, I
Again,
don't.
I'm like I wouldn't see the first one, so why would I have ever seen the second one?
I
Is it better than the first one though? No, I feel like it's the same, but everyone
I
seems
think
to think
it's
it's
like-
better.
It's like kind of better, but kind of not better.
Well, now they're introducing like plot points that are like whatever. I'm giving it a one. I'll give it a 2. I don't know. I don't think it's better.
I see, and
I'll
I
say 1.5. 1.5. That's what I'm
You know
going
what? I might say 1.5 too. Like as much as like I don't know if it's better. Like I definitely love the idea that they gave plot points and that there's more of like a story that's happening. It's not just two people banging it out based on a contract.
Yeah.
I definitely get a little bit more chemistry between the two leads, but I feel like it's just like yeah, I don't know.
It's still bad dialogue.
so
It's still
many-
awkward.
Yeah,
Character.
yeah. I don't know.
Development.
I can't.
It's whatever. 1.5.
Yeah, I'll say 1.5 as well.
This is what it is.
It's just
I'm not going to play these games. Play your love
love
games.
games.
with me.
Yeah, I was thinking play love games.
I'm old Greg.
Oh, yeah, we're just but we watched. Yeah, we're just
It was a movie.
It's a movie.
It got made, and
It made money.
I feel like they were
It made
just trying
money.
to bank on something, and it did what it did.
I still just like it's not good. So I don't know. Would not recommend.
Would not recommend.
Would not recommend.
No.
And we were drinking during this too, so
Yeah, I
like,
feel like
I
you
don't
have
even
to.
know if that made it better, worse.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so that was the first two. That was 50 Shades Darker, 50 Shades of Grey. We will be concluding this series next week, and we will be covering 50 Shades Freed. So if you guys want to see what we thought of the conclusion to this lovely trilogy, please stay tuned. Please like, subscribe, follow. Leave any comments if you like 50 Shades of Grey. Please let us.
If you really
please let us know.
liked it, hit us with a comment. Let us know what you
And
thought.
if you liked it, please maybe it's for you.
yeah,
It's
no
not.
one's gonna judge you here. This is a place of.
we don't judge. Well, we do. Well, we do.
no, we
Well,
don't, no.
we judge the movies. We don't judge.
These are just
people.
our opinions.
Ooh, so scary.
Just opinions.
scary opinions.
Catch you guys next time.
Thank you so much for watching. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a good time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, the podcast, a show so sublime. Marissa, Mooney, Joseph, and Ryan signing off with glee. Join us next episode for more sequel revelry.